are in listen-only mode.
Good morning, everybody. How's everybody doing today? This is Alex Szinegh. It is an awesome, wonderful, incredible morning. We are right now looking out over the ocean in Costa Rica. It is absolutely gorgeous. It's a sunny day, beautiful weather, and the pool is shining. So it's a special day today, not because we're in Costa Rica looking out over the ocean. Today is a very, very special day. We're going to be talking to an icon in the real estate business, an absolute superstar. This lady has accomplished things that some of us just dream about. Why is that? Well, it's an interesting story. She started out not with a silver spoon in her mouth. Everything she accomplished, everything she's done is because of the way she approached life and the way she has overcome obstacles and built things for herself, you know, one little bit at a time. And so today we're very fortunate to be able to be speaking, I can't even spoken, to Savannah Ross, Canada's rich mom. Anyways, Savannah, you there?
I'm here. Hi, Alex.
Hi, how are you?
I'm wonderful.
So, how are you enjoying yourself?
I'm having a great time. This is absolute paradise.
That's great. That's great. Can you get a little bit closer to your microphone so we can hear you a little bit better?
Sure. Is this good?
Great.
Does this work for you?
Okay, great. Thank you. That sounds a little bit better. Anyways, I'm very fortunate to be able to meet this lady a couple of years ago and see what she accomplished. She is an absolute inspiration to me and to thousands and thousands of people across Canada and the United States and in other countries. She's, she's fans everywhere around the world. So, Savannah, I want to ask you a few questions today. I'm going to you just say whatever's on your mind, and well, you always do anyway, so it's not a big problem. It's like, yeah, don't speak your mind, Anyway, so first question, tell us about your background a little bit. How did you happen to get into real estate investing? It's a lot of people like to get into real estate investing, and different people have different motivations. So how did you decide that this was something you wanted to do?
Well, I actually went to school to study dermatology. It was a real passion of mine. And so dermatology is a good start for real estate investing, as you all know. That's kind of the way you go. Actually, what happened with us is we found ourselves in this kind of common situation, living sort of paycheck to paycheck, but we were quite comfortable and feeling like life was just perfect. And I think a lot of people are in that situation. We call it the comfort zone, and they don't realize just how vulnerable their lives are, their situations are. They think they're doing okay, but what if they were to lose 6 paychecks? Imagine how their life would take a turn. And that's exactly what happened with us. We had a series of tragic events that took place within a very short period of time, and so we went from being fairly comfortable to being $400,000 in debt, on the brink of bankruptcy, and our house was in pre-foreclosure. And so all of these challenges that came as a result of having a house fire, and then the teachers went on strike. I was married to a teacher at the time, so he lost all his income. And then really the straw that kind of broke the camel's back was on February 7th. We were told that our 11-month-old son wasn't going to live another day. And so the emotional challenge that comes along with that, the lack of ability to move forward, to create, to even think, and put us in a really bad situation. I spent 8 weeks in the hospital at his bedside, and being the only breadwinner in the family and being self-employed just made it really challenging for anybody to be able to kind of get past that. So the $400,000 in debt did not come as a result of us being irresponsible. It came as a result of me trying everything I could to keep my son alive. And fortunately, he's 9 years old today and still struggling with a lot of physical limitations, but he's just a wonderful little boy, and we're so blessed to have him. Having been in that particular situation, I just didn't know how I was going to get out of it. The one thing that really kind of changed everything for us is I one day got a notice in the mail. Now, we were getting all kinds of phone calls from creditors and you know how it goes when you're in debt. But really, I got a letter in the mail from the electricity company. Basically said if I didn't pay this $36.21, that they were going to cut off my electricity. And it's one thing to have to accept the fact that your child might pass away because you know, he's got a disease of some sort, but to have to accept the fact that your child's going to pass away because you didn't pay an electricity bill is just not something that anybody wants to be able to have to deal with. And so I just, you know, the mother bear in me came out. I got just super, super angry, determined that I wasn't going to let my family go down without a fight, and I started looking for options to make an income so that we could get out of this situation. I needed to have electricity to keep his machines going. I needed to have a home for us to live in, and I was absolutely determined to do whatever it took to make that happen. So I started thinking about, you know, who are the people in the world that make some serious money? You know, I knew that I wasn't going to get out of this situation doing some home-based MLM type business. It wasn't going to be the solution for me because I needed to make a lot of money really, really quickly. And the only way that I could see that people in the world were making some serious coin was either doing illegal or unethical things. They were either superstars, you know, celebrities or sport athletes, or they were real estate investors. And so that just made sense to me to be able to go down that road. I knew nothing, absolutely nothing about real estate investing, but I was absolutely on fire, determined to do whatever it took to keep my little boy alive. And that is what got me started in the real estate game. Are
Wow.
you there, Alex?
Wow, that's absolutely incredible. You know, when I do seminars and I talk to people, they say, how do I succeed at anything? And, you know, I think the success comes from the why. If the why is big enough, the how is easy. And obviously, it wasn't money that motivated you. It was your little boy that motivated you, which makes it absolutely incredible. I think when I first met you, you told a story about you asked people would they run into a building if it was on fire or a house or something like that.
I really believe, Alex, that nobody's motivated by money. You know, that we think we are, but at the end of the day, we don't want money. Money's just paper. We want the resources that can be provided by having money. You know, money is a resource, it's a tool to get what we really want. And so you ask people, this is what I do when I'm speaking on stage, and I'll ask somebody in the audience, and I'll say, you know, listen, Mark, if I was to give you $10, would you run through a building that was engulfed in flames? And of course, any sane person would say no. You know, and then I'll pick another person in the audience and say, well, what about you, George? If I offered you, you know, $10,000 to put it in a backpack and said you need to run through this whole building that's engulfed in flames, would you do it? And of course, then George will say, well, no, because if I got out alive, the money would likely be burnt. But if I ask someone else, you know, if your little child, your 2-year-old, was in the house, stuck in a crib, and was totally vulnerable and had no way to escape, would you went into the burning building? And any parent would say, of course I would. 10 firemen couldn't stop me from getting into that place. It's not about the money. It's about the what motivates you is rarely money. I think there was some kind of a questionnaire or whatever, survey that went out at one point. It showed that money was actually the number 7 motivator. It's not the number 1 motivator for most people. We need to really get in touch with why we want to do something. If your why is big enough, you can do anything. We hear stories about, you know, that woman that lifted up the whole fire truck because her child was stuck underneath. We can do the impossible if our why is big enough. We need to have the drive and the determination. We can do anything, absolutely anything.
So, yeah, that's correct. Haley, is the sound okay? Can you hear us all right?
Yes,
Just
it
want
does.
to make sure.
It sounds
To all of you people out there, can you guys hear us good? Yes? Good. Okay, you can type it in the chat there saying that you can hear us, you know, making sure that everybody can really hear the whole session, because sometimes being away out in the jungle, you know, the internet doesn't work as good as we thought it would work. Anyways, yeah, it's interesting, you know, you're talking about bill collectors calling you. A few years ago when I was flat broke, bill collectors were calling me and they were asking me, you know, to send them money, and I said to them, listen, I have a problem. I don't have much money at all. I'm a real estate agent. I'm a salesperson. I'm emotionally motivated, and you keep calling me. I might not be motivated. And let me explain to you how I pay my bills. I take all of my bills and put it into a big box, and at the end of the month, what I do is I basically have a raffle. If you keep calling me, you don't go in the raffle this month. So that was the way I got rid of my creditors. Okay. Keep bugging me, and you don't get in the raffle. Anyways, so
when you got creditors, the best thing to do is don't pay your phone bill.
I'm sorry?
Because if you don't pay your the best thing to do when you got all those creditors calling is the first bill you don't want to pay is your phone bill. Because once you don't pay your phone bill, the creditors can't call you anymore.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, it's like the phone is disconnected. You know, that is you know, a really inspirational story there, because you know how many times we, you know, I think most people get into a comfort zone. Like you said, you know, you're comfortable, you're getting your paycheck, you go from day to day, your life is good, you're kind of drifting along, and you never realize what you're capable of doing until, you know, you're called to a challenge. You're called to a challenge and says, hey, I got to accomplish this. I got to do something really special. And so all of you out there, you may need to take a look at in your business, what is your motivator? You know, it's not the money, it's what the money is going to do for you, where it's going to take you, and you know, what you're going to accomplish with it. I always say to people, if I give you $1 million and lock you into a room with no windows and lock the door, would you be happy? And of course not. It's not the money, it's what you're going to do with that money. So that's awesome. My next question to you, Savannah, is what do you think is the main characteristics of a good real estate investor?
Well, that's a great question. I would absolutely have to say that I think that the main characteristics, that the best characteristic to have as a real estate investor is not to get emotionally involved in your real estate. I think that's the number one challenge that people have, is they get emotionally involved, they get attached to the end result, and you can't succeed that way. It is a business. It needs to be treated like a business. There has to be no emotional attachment to your real estate investing, period. So you have to be able to look at the reality, look at the numbers, do a lot of research. And really one of the things that I find has been a real big improvement is to understand that there is always something to learn, and that you don't know everything, and then maybe you could learn some new options, some new strategies, some new techniques by just working with people who know what's working right. So being really open to learning, I think, and doing lots of research. It's a lifestyle, you know, it's not a job. It's not a career. It's actually a change in lifestyle, a change in mentality that makes you a really good real estate investor. And you cannot, absolutely cannot get emotionally involved. It's all about the numbers.
Yes. So what advice would you give to real estate agents when they are, you know, dealing with a real estate investor?
Well, I think that, you know, I actually teach a real estate, a course for real estate agents. And one of the main things that I try to get to them is to understand real estate agents that work with home buyers are counselors, they're therapists, they're dealing with marital problems and children and emotions and all kinds of different things. And their job is not really to sell them a home, it's to be the therapist along the process of them buying a home. Whereas when you're working with a real estate investor, unemotional. It's all about the numbers, and it's about making sure that the investor gets what they need, get it promptly, accurately, and just get the job done. They don't need to be schmoozed. They don't need to be wined and dined and pampered. They just want to get down to business. They were going to work with a real estate agent that gets the job done correctly, efficiently. And sometimes what I've seen in where the relationships I have with some of the best real estate agents that I work with is real estate agents that are willing to go above and beyond and get the job done. So as an example, I have a real estate agent that I work with. Her name is Anita. And I went to meet with Anita. I bought 49 places from her in 10 days. You know, she loves me to bits. I'm obviously her best client she's ever had. I broke a record in Canada by buying all these properties in a very short period of time, and we worked really efficiently together. But in order for that whole process to go down without too many glitches, we needed to make sure that we had all our ducks in a row. Now, when you're selling a property or helping your buyer buy a property, you're having to deal with a real estate agent on the other end as well. So as you can imagine, I'm buying all these properties through her. All 49 of these properties were not her listings. So she is depending on other realtors to provide her with information that was necessary to close the deal. Now, Anita, being the excellent real estate agent that she is, being motivated, being ambitious, and determined, when the other realtors were not giving her what she wanted, She didn't just stop. That's what most agents will do. They'll call the client up and say, you know what, I asked the realtor, they won't give me the information. Anita didn't take no for an answer. She thought, you know what, Turkey, if you're not going to do your job, I'll do it for you because my client needs this information. And so she understood that she actually did her full job and did probably 75% of the job of the other real estate agent, but she was willing to go above and beyond because she ended up getting paid in the end. Had she not done the other real estate agent's job, she would have gotten nothing. So a great realtor will understand what the client needs and will do whatever it takes to make sure that the client needs what they get what they need. Going above and beyond is super important, and it's so worth working at. It's so different. I do not understand why real estate agents do not focus on working with investors. It's like the easiest thing. That's why I teach the program. I'll teach you how to increase your sales 10 times overnight and teach you how to decrease your expenses by 90%. It is so much more beneficial as a real estate agent to work with investors.
Yeah, you know, a lot of real estate agents do not know how to work with investors. And that's the reason they're not successful at it. Is, you know, they talk to an investor. You're correct. You know, a lot of times you call the other agent and the other agent doesn't respond, which is a big problem in our industry because agents are just not getting back to you, and then you can't tell your investor. But if you're the kind of person like this lady that you're working with, you just go out and get the information yourself. You don't even rely on the other agent because, you know, a lot of them, that's why they're not successful. They just don't follow up. They don't follow through. So,
well, I can tell you
that's
the frustrating thing that I deal with is I have a lot of realtors in my life. Obviously, you know, it's part of my occupation. Sometimes I call it an occupational hazard because most of them are kind of crazy. They work way too many hours for way too little money. But I know a lot of realtors. I have a lot of friends that are real estate agents. And I get so frustrated because I do train a lot of real estate agents. And I get so frustrated because they have gone through so many hours of training. They're required to continue education in order to keep their credits up. And so a lot of real estate agents feel that they don't need any more education because they already have so much education. And that is a real big misconception. They're not willing to go out there and learn how to do this right because they're frustrated. They're already having to spend so many hours in classrooms. They don't want to spend more hours in the classroom. I have real estate agents that show up sometimes at my events to come and learn from me, and they sit there on their BlackBerries all day and don't even pay attention. So why would you spend the time and the money to come and learn from somebody like me and not be there 100%? So it's frustrating to work with a real estate agent that thinks they already know it. If you already know it, you would be the top of your game. If you really want to be successful in learning how to work with real estate investors, I am so much happy to train you, to teach you. I can show you how to explode your business. But you have to be willing to put your ego aside for a minute and go, you know what? Even though I've been a realtor for 35 years, maybe I don't know everything. Maybe I don't know this piece. Best thing that you could possibly do is learn from somebody who's doing it. Everybody in the world, every realtor in the world would love to have me as a client because I buy a lot of real estate. How would you like as a realtor to have somebody like me come along and buy 50 properties from you in a week? Any real estate agent would dream to have a client like me. So if that's what you want is a client like me or a client like some of my students, then you need to learn how to acquire those kind of clients and how to serve them. And I want to do that for a realtor that really wants to learn and bring their business to the next level.
Oh yeah, you're so correct. You know, I've been in the real estate business 30 years, and I go to trainings and seminars all the time. As a matter of fact, that's how you and I met. I paid a lot of money to go fly to San Diego, go to a seminar, sit in the class for 3 days, listen to everybody. That's where I saw you first speak, and all of a sudden, you know, it's like, you know, I learn, I pay attention, I listen, and then the thing about it is, our friend Greg Reed wrote a book that's called 3 Feet from Gold, and in that book he says that your lifestyle, your attitude, your income, and everything is an average of the 5 people you hang around the most. So some of you realtors out there, you're hanging around the wrong people, you're not going to educational, and you're not studying, you're not listening. You know, I have online training. A lot of times companies sign up for my online training, my Extreme Online University, and what happens is they got the system in the office, and then I get a call from the broker 3-4 months down the road, says, you know what, I don't want to use the system anymore because none of my agents are watching it. And there's 150 hours of training on there 150 hours of training from soup to nuts. It's from how do you get up in the morning to how do you close action, all the way from A to Z. And some of them, will watch one session and another, and I watch it over and over again. I wrote that stuff, and I was watching it the other day. I'm going, hey, man, this guy's really cool. He knows a lot of information. And I thought, oh, that's me, But I go to seminars all the time. I was just in Los Angeles, and then I went to Las Vegas. Paid a guy like 12 grand just to, and when you don't have the money, you say, oh, I can't spend $1,000. I can't spend $500, and agents a lot of times are not spending the time and the money to pay attention. And you're correct. They're sitting in their class. In my classes, I don't allow phones to be on. They have to be off. If you turn your phone on or anything like that, I throw you out of my class. Because you came to play, you came to listen, you came to pay attention. So it's very, very crucial.
I'll tell you a story about 2 years ago. I was the keynote speaker for this big real estate convention in Canada for realtors. There was 5,000 real estate agents in the room, and I came in to speak. And most of the trainers and speakers are those that actually have like accredited courses for real estate agents, and then they asked me to come in kind of as a motivational speaker, whatever that was. So I went in up on stage. I was up on stage like 2 minutes, and I said, all the records that I had broken as a real estate investor in Canada, and every single one of those realtors in the room stood up and tried to give me their business card. Every one of them wanted to work with me. But when it came to the end and I offered every one of them an opportunity to come to a 3-day boot camp training session with me personally, it was only $1,000 for them to come for 3 days for me to teach them exactly how to work with clients just like me. 11 people showed up. 5,000 people in the room, and they all want to be my realtor, but none of them are willing to do the work that it takes to be my real estate agent. And for $1,000, with the amount of properties that I could have bought from them, they would have made hundreds of thousands of dollars in commission. It's really a mindset thing, and realtors really need to get their ego out of the way if they want to be successful. They really do.
Yeah, they look at, what is it going to cost me? I have an expression with realtors, and it goes like this. Your greatest expense in life is the money you could be making.
Exactly.
It's not the advertising budget. It's not something else. It's the money you're missing out on. And you're absolutely correct. I do the same thing. I do sometimes these speeches, and I offer people courses and different training programs. And they're like, yeah, man, I love you, and everything is great, and wow, I'd love to do that. And then I say, okay, come on, belly up to the bar, take out your wallet, let's go and take the training. And they go, well, even, what was funny? I was just at a real estate conference. I spoke. There was about 20 people in the room. There wasn't that big of a group. And I was selling my book for $20. I sold 10 books for $20. And this book that I wrote is on the DISC personality profile. It's about how to talk to different types of people, buyers and sellers, how to talk to a D, how to talk to an I, an S, and a C. It exactly describes the scripts of what to say, and for $20. And, they walk up to the counter and they flip through the book as if they're going to get the book, and they go, I'll think about it. What the hell you got to think about? You got to go home and have a family meeting, a budget meeting to see if you can spend $20. It blows me away, It's like they kind of fan through the book and they go, I'll get you later, I'll think about it. I'm thinking to myself, what a cheapo, It's so funny, but anyways.
You know what I find?
All right, well, let me see what.
Most of the realtors that I end up working with are those that are already successful in their business. Isn't that funny? They're already successful, they're already doing well, and they want to do better because they're driven and they're motivated, and that's great. The one challenge that we have, though, is it's hard to find real estate agents that we can work with that really get what it's like to be with an investor. So I'll go and train these people, and then within a year or two, they're retired. They make so much money working as a realtor, and then they start investing themselves because they learn all my training, and they end up retiring, and I got to go find more realtors to work with because the ones that I have are sitting on a beach in Costa Rica. It's an occupational hazard. You got to make everybody wealthy, and they keep running away from you.
I know. I used to have that in the real estate business when I owned my office. I bring in these new agents, I train them, and then they would leave. And some of them open their own business, and I go, oh, man, I got to stop training these guys too good. Here's the next question. Do you think it's still a good time to invest in real estate?
Are you kidding me? This is like an amazing time to invest in real estate. It's such a funny thing, you know. I hear people ask me that all the time, like everything's falling apart. Look at what happened during the Great Depression. All those families that came from there, those that saw the opportunity when everybody else was running away. And I say to people, you know, you don't go into the Prada store when they're having a half price off sale and say, oh, you know what, I think that I'm going to come back next week when everything's full price again. Things are cheap right now. It's a great opportunity to get into the real estate market because, number one, prices are low, and number two, you don't have a ton of competition because everybody else is a chicken. So you're out there being able to take advantage of some opportunities that other people are just not willing to do. It is an absolutely amazing time to invest in real estate. It's crazy. I don't understand why people aren't taking advantage of it right now. But they will come later on when the prices are 4 times what they are right now. They're all going to come along and want to become real estate investors and feel like they're doing the right thing. It's the time now to buy things when the interest rates are low, the prices are low, there's so much opportunity and so little competition out there. You have an opportunity to go out there and buy everything that you possibly can that has a high ROI on it. It's absolutely insane.
Yep.
I started investing, you know, 6 years ago, and so many people now say, well, when you started, the market was great. And I said, exactly. When I started, the prices were high, the interest rates were high, the down payment requirements were high. Everything has changed now, and it's so much better. It is 100 times better to invest now than it was when I started. And look at what I did. I made $3 million I made $3 million in 6 months. Imagine what you could do now.
Yeah. And you know, I think one of the things that I would say to all the investors, I mean the real estate agents out there also, is that you need to right now start investing yourself. I think that's one of the ways you're going to learn about how to invest better. You know, and so I actually had a question pop up. Somebody says here, let me see. It was an interesting question. Says, if you went straight into investing rather than be an agent, yes, it might be better for some of you out there. You might make more money. But I highly recommend that you invest in real estate. I've been investing in real estate for years. And, you know, they always say, you know, I'm going to wait to invest in real estate. I think the whole attitude should be is invest in real estate and wait, you know, and watch it go up and up and up and up and up. Sure, it may dip a little bit, but then it's going to go up again. If you look back over the last 30 years, real estate is still a lot more than it has ever been. So it's all about taking an approach. But, you know, Savannah, a few years back, I used to have an insurance company, and I had some insurance agents that weren't making any sales. You know, they were struggling making sales in insurance. And then I said to them, how much life insurance do you have? And they said, well, I don't have any. And I'm thinking, that's your problem. You know, the same thing with me. I immediately, when I got into insurance sales, I bought a couple of $1 million worth of life insurance, and then I could sell a couple of $1 million of life insurance, because if somebody was giving an objection about, you know, life insurance, I said, hey, I've got a couple of $1 million, you know, you should have some. And I think the same thing for realtors. If they went out there and every single person out there right now bought at least one piece of property for themselves as an investment, they would get at what it feels like to be an investor, and they would understand the investor a lot better. And,
absolutely.
You know, obviously the way to do that is to figure out how to do it. And, you know, somebody asked a question, how do you get the money? I think that's one of my questions in here. Let's see what of my questions in here is. It's
just to touch on what you just
give us about
Alex,
financing. Exactly. That was the next question. How do you buy property with no money? You had no money. You were broke. You were in debt. How could you buy money? Who would give you money? How did it work?
I just want to touch on what you said last, Alex, before we move on here, is about the real estate agents. And I'll say that when I train my investors, I do a training program and I teach people how to invest in real estate, and we talk about, you know, so many things. It's a very intensive, comprehensive program. But when we talk about building a team and hiring real estate agents, that's the number one thing I look for, is a real estate agent that has investment property of their own, because experience teaches you. Book knowledge is nothing. Experience is everything. And so we always look for real estate agents that have investment properties of their own, because if you've done it, you get it. You know what it's like. You know the emotional thing that comes in the background. And it is really good as a realtor. If you're looking to work with investor clients, start investing yourself, and I'd be happy to teach you how to do that. So that's kind of the double bonus of working with me as a realtor, is you get to learn how to be a better real estate agent and a better real estate investor. So to get back to the question, some advice about financing, how do you buy a property with no money? You know, this is so funny, and how we judge. We just tend to judge so much in life, don't we? Even though we think we're not judgmental, we judge all the time. And I still do it even after all the experience I've had in working with people. What I have found is that there's been so many times where I've had people come to me that say, Savannah, you know, I really want to work with you. I want you to teach me everything that you know. I want to do this, this, that, and the other thing, and I really need help. And so I'll do an analysis with these people and find out that they have, you know, great jobs. Maybe she's an engineer, he's a doctor. They've got, you know, lots of equity in their home. They've got great credit. They've got good down payment money. And I look at that situation and go, wow, these people are going to rock it. They're going to be like billionaires by the end of the year because they have all the ducks in a row. And they end up doing very little, you know, if anything. They just want to learn. They're just curious. They're going to buy a couple properties. And then we get couples that come in that just, their situation on paper is absolutely pathetic. You know, they're not very well employed, or they don't have good credit, they've been bankrupt, they've got no down payment money, and I'm thinking, man, I can't even possibly think about spending my time training you. I don't want to waste your time because you're never going to get anywhere. And they're the ones that blow me away. It's, you know, I had this one particular couple, one of the first couples that I ever worked with. She was working at Holiday Inn as a chambermaid, and he was working at Boston Pizza, you know, as a waiter. And they were broke, they had no money, they were renting, they were young, and they wanted to take my program. And I thought, my goodness, I can't take this from you. Like, there's no way I can do this and sleep at night. But they were so determined, and I thought, okay, well, if they're that insistent, I'll work with these people. Well, they ended up buying 100 properties in their first year, and they became one of the most successful students that I had that year. And the difference is that determination, drive is what matters. People don't understand financing. They've gone to the bank, asked for money to borrow, to buy our personal home, and have been rejected, so they've made this preconceived idea that they can't get a loan. They believe this because they've been told they couldn't get a loan maybe for a car or maybe for a home in the past. Now, there's a big difference here that people don't understand. There's a difference between buying rental real estate or investment real estate and buying a personal home. It is not the same. We confuse the two because they both look the same. They're both made of bricks and mortar, and they both have a roof on them, but they're absolutely different. Buying investment property is buying a business, income-producing business. When you're buying a personal home, you're buying a liability. It's a debt. It's going to cost you money. Your house doesn't make money. It costs money every month. You got to pay a mortgage. You got to cut the grass. You got to, you know, take care of all the maintenance issues. It costs money. Whereas you buy an investment property, it actually creates an income and it makes money. So what you're looking for is, really, people need to understand that the lenders out there, I laugh so many times. I see people go in to get money from the lender. They'll put on their best suit, get a nice haircut, and go in there looking really sharp, and they'll beg and plead for money. I'm telling you, it doesn't really matter how cute you are. The bank is not there to do you any favors. They are not a charity. They are the biggest of investors out there. They are looking for investment opportunities. That's it. I can show up at the bank in a pair of camo pants and a baseball cap and a tank top and get millions of dollars loaned to me because they're not looking at me. They don't care how cute I am. They don't care how professional I look when I walk in the bank. What they care about is what kind of an investment opportunity I'm presenting to them. So really, it's not about you. You're not trying to impress them, getting them to be impressed with you. You're trying to get them to be impressed with the deal that you have on the table. The bank is looking to invest in your investment opportunity. So it comes down to this basic common sense, is that if you bring them a great opportunity to invest in, you're going to get your money, period. Anybody can get a mortgage. And I say that, and people go, how can you possibly put that out there? It's the truth. Anyone can get a mortgage. Not everyone's going to get the same type of mortgage. Some mortgages are better than others, but there isn't a human being out there that cannot get a mortgage. Okay? Know that. It's not about you. It's about the investment opportunity that you're presenting to the bank. You continue to go to the bank over and over and over again with deals that they absolutely can't refuse, you're going to get money. It's that simple. It's that simple. When I started investing in real estate, I was $400,000 in debt. I was going bankrupt. I had gone through bankruptcy counseling. I was getting foreclosed on my house in just a few days. I had really bad credit. I didn't look good. And yet I was able to borrow millions of dollars to get started with my real estate investment business. So there's no excuse about the financing. It's about learning. You need to learn about it. You need to learn how it all works and figure out the bank is not there to do you favors. They're not a loan agency, a charity case. They're investors.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, I heard a really good statement many years ago. Robert Kiyosaki, the guy that wrote the books Rich Dad, Poor Dad, he said to me one day, he says, in an asset, the difference between an asset and a liability is that an asset is something that feeds you and a liability is something that eats you. And if you think your house is an asset, you're dead wrong, because exactly what you said. Every month you got to pay the mortgage, you got to maintain it, you got to pay your taxes, you got to do all of that. It generates zero income. You could have a dumpy little house, you know, and if it's generating an income. I bought some property down in Florida for $55,000. The properties can rent for about $800 a month. $800, that's $9,600 a year. $9,600 a year. My expenses are about $250 a month. Okay, so pay $3,000. It's $6,000 a year return on $55,000. That's more than 10%.
Yep.
So
you know, Alex,
it's where are you getting to?
People buy houses,
Yeah.
and they think that they're making an investment in their house. You know, I hear people say, well, the market's going to go up in 5 or 10 years from now, my house is going to be worth like $200,000 more. What people don't realize is when you're paying a mortgage, 90% of those initial 7 years is going towards interest. You're not paying down the mortgage. You buy a $500,000 house, and at the end of your mortgage term, I think you're paying like $1.5 million for that house. So if in 10 years from now you can sell it for $700 grand, have you really made any money? It doesn't.
Yeah, you're still in the hole. Yeah,
No,
you're
throwing
absolutely
money
correct.
away. Instead, buy investment properties that are going to feed you, that are going to give you an income, and use the cash flow from your investment properties to buy the house that you want. Because a house is a doodad. It's a toy. It's a luxury. So allow your investment properties to provide the income so that you can go buy yourself a mansion and a Ferrari and all those things that you want. Let the cash flow pay for that.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. That's great. Well, let me go to my next question. Can you teach anyone to be a real estate investor? Can anybody learn this? And I know you kind of touched on it a little bit, but I mean, could you teach a kid even?
I knew you were going to go there. Yeah, Mom, it's my favorite thing to do, right? That's the great thing about being a mom is you get to brag. Well, you know, this is funny because I will, you know, speaking at big events, and there'll be, you know, 5 to 50,000 people in the audience, and they all think, oh, I can't do this, and, you know, maybe Savannah can do this, but I can't, and they've got all kinds of excuses in the world. I think the biggest disease going on rampant right now is exercitis. And no matter what they've seen me gone through, I've just dealt with cancer. I was paralyzed. Now I'm on stage paralyzed, multimillionaire, having dealt with all those things with my son, and people are still going, I don't think I can invest in real estate. But no one can fight it when my son gets up there on stage. You know, I know many of you have probably heard of my son and don't realize that he's mine, but he is all mine. Ryan Ross, who's also known as Tiny Trump, actually started his first business when he was only 3 years old. And again, it comes down to what's your reason why. You know, Ryan made a deal with God. He was 3 years old, had very little comprehension about what was happening in our lives as far as the finances and his brother's health. But he had come into the house one day and heard me at the table just bawling my eyes out and begging God to do anything. Please, God, just give me the money to keep my baby alive. And that's what he heard. And as a 3-year-old can only comprehend so much, he actually ran out to the backyard and he sat there on his knees and he prayed and he said, God, if you give my mommy the money to keep my brother alive, I promise I'll pay you back. And I think, you know, 3-year-olds think that God's a bank or God's an ATM machine. I don't know. But his brother lived, and so he made this deal with God, and now he's got to pay this guy back. And what kind of price tag can you put on your little brother, right? So he owes this guy all kinds of money because his brother's alive and his brother's priceless. So he got started in his own little business when he was 3 years old. As simple as this. So tell me you can't start your own business when a 3-year-old can start a business. He started selling eggs at church and at the school where his father worked. And from there, he started building a little bit of income, and he started buying some rabbits and started raising rabbits and selling the rabbits, and he started working at the farmer's market. He even started going around. We used to walk around our neighborhood. In the back, there was a driving range, and he'd pick up all the golf balls in this little red wagon and then go to the golf course and sell them back to the golf course owner. So he did all these little businesses, and by the time he was 5 years old, so only in 2 years, just being this little kid, just being a kid, he ended up raising enough money that he could buy real estate of his own. So he became a real estate investor at the age of 5. At the age of 7, he was a millionaire in his own right on his own businesses that he ran all by himself and became North America's most successful young entrepreneur, 7 years of age, and a motivational speaker. So don't tell me you can't friggin' do this. It's ridiculous. There's absolutely no excuse of why you can't do this. There's no excuse whatsoever. I won't hear it. I won't listen. You got excuses that I don't have time for you because I want to work with winners that know that they can make this happen and maybe just don't know how. I can teach you the how if you're willing to come with the why you want to do this and the willingness and the drive for information to make it happen. I can teach you exactly how to do this. I don't care who you are, what your situation is. I can teach you how to be a successful real estate investor. Absolutely.
So Ryan owns property.
Ryan owns a lot of property. Yes.
No wonder my daughter likes him.
Yeah, the funny thing is, you know, people also, well, you've had this personal experience, right? So the funny thing is people all of a sudden see him differently. Like they think he's some kind of an, I don't know, some different kind of creature. But you've hung out, we've been in Costa Rica now for a week. You've hung out with him. He's just a normal kid. He's a normal 11-year-old kid running around the pool chasing your daughter because she's so cute. He is not an anomaly. He's not a strange child. He's nothing special. He's no more intelligent than everybody else. He's just does what he knows, and you don't need to have any kind of special superpower to be successful. He's just a normal kid.
Oh,
you know, you see him.
I know. It was like when I heard about it, you know, I was like expecting this kid to float in here, not his feet not touching the ground, and have this big ego and be a little bit obnoxious. And I'm thinking, okay, I'm gonna have a problem here because I don't put up with snottiness from little kids, you know, that think they're better than everybody else and all that. And I look at your son and I'm thinking, he's just a normal little kid. He's got a great attitude. He's a kid. He's a kid first and then an investor second, so to speak. He's just normal. He's jumping in the pool, playing along, you know, just like every other kid, playing their iPads and they're playing ball and they're just having fun. And I'm looking at him thinking, this little sucker owns real estate? You know, it's like, it's just so funny when you think about it, but he's a very normal little kid.
He owns a lot of companies, you know, but there's still no more. How many times yesterday did I have to put his nose in the corner because he's misbehaving? He's fighting with his brother. He's picking his nose. He's just a normal kid, 11 years old now. He's a totally normal little boy that deals with every other normal little boy things that, you know, doesn't put his dishes away after dinner. And he's no different. And he owns several companies now. He's a very astute businessman, very good at his business. But he also, you know, has a lot to teach me because one of the things that he has that I haven't quite become an expert at yet is that he is very good at separating business from his personal life. You know, he's able to have a good time and not think business. I haven't heard him talk business once since we've been here. You know, he's on vacation.
No, I'm surprised. He's a kid. He's having so much fun. They're in the pool, out of the pool. They're playing, and you're right. You know, he's arguing with his brother, and you know, it's just. I'm thinking, this is the kid that owns all this property, and he's just like a regular kid, you know. It's funny. Absolutely. But that, you know, the problem today is for real estate agents and people out there in the world is that everybody's got an excuse of why they can't do something. You know, they got 100 excuses. And I heard an expression many years ago is that there's two kinds of people in the world. People that are committed to the result and people are committed to the explanation why there isn't any, you know. And the question is where you fit. Are you focused on the result or are you focused on why the problems exist? So I think that's pretty fantastic, you know. I've got one more question here for you.
Yeah. A lot of the relationships
I got one more question here for you.
The challenges that I have is that I find it very challenging to deal with people that are not result-oriented. I'm a result-oriented person, so people will come to me and say, you know, this is a problem, and I'll say, okay, this is how I'm going to fix it. And then they say, oh, well, no, I don't like that. You know, I just recently was chatting with somebody who said, you know, I really need to meet you. We need to connect, and we need to meet. So I said, fine. I said, I'll rent a plane. I'll come down there. I'll meet you, you know, on Monday. And then all of a sudden, no, Monday doesn't work. You know, I'm busy. Well, then if you don't have, you know, if there's a problem, I'll find a solution and I'll make it done. But there's a lot of people out there that are not looking for the solution. They're just looking for excuses for not to have a solution.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct. Savannah, can you tell us a little bit about your program? Like, how do you teach people? How does it work, and all that kind of stuff? Because I think there's a lot of people out there that want to know about it, to see what it would take to be an investor and how does it work. Because I would like to see all of my audience, all the people that I'm connected with, all invest in real estate. I've invested in real estate over the years, lots of times. I've made some money. There's been a few instances where I actually lost a little bit of money. but overall I've made more money on it. So I really want people to get that there's investments are out there, there's opportunities and everything. And then, you know, Robert Kiyosaki said to me 30 years ago, he says, you always got to talk to people that are in position where you want to get to. And I took that advice, and you know, that's the reason that I asked you if you know, you could talk to the audience here. And I just like listening to you. I like watching what you do, and you know, I've connected with you and connected with a lot of really cool people that are doing this investing and own businesses. And you know, so can you just give us a little bit about what you do and how you do it? And then I'll give everybody your website so they can go and look and see if they're interested.
Okay. I'll tell you that I only teach one type of real estate investing. There's lots of different real estate investment strategies out there. The investment strategy that I teach is high equity, high cash flow, buy and hold. There's lots of different strategies out there. There's people who are doing flips and notes and this and that and all kinds of things. I focus on one thing and one thing only, and it may not be the sexiest thing, but it works. And a lot of people will argue and tell me that their investment strategy is better. That's great. I'm number one in Canada for a reason, and this is what I focus on. So I don't care about how cute it might look. It's about what works, and you don't become number one doing something cute. You become number one doing what works. So I teach high equity, high cash flow, buy and hold real estate acquisition, and I can tell you one of the things that I'm most proud of is not only that I become the number one real estate investor in the country within my first year of investing, but since I've been teaching my program in the last 5 years, I believe it's been 4.5, 5 years, of the top 10 real estate investors in the biggest country in the world, 6 of them are my personal students that I have mentored and walked through my program. So I'm really proud to know that it works, it can be repeated. Now, what I do is I'm very, very committed to making sure that I'm the one that's teaching the information. Now, I am not the type of person that will come in and take your money and then pawn you off to some person who doesn't know what they're doing. I've been down that ringer before, and I know how that works. I teach all of it myself. I do have back-end staff that takes care of, you know, the website and the payments and my flights and all those kinds of other things. But when it comes to working with the students, they work one-on-one with me and with no one else, okay? So that's a guarantee that I always make to people, is that you will only work with me because I believe unless you've walked the walk, you have no business trying to teach it. I will teach you what I know because I have been there from experience, and I can understand what the process is that you'll go through. So the new program that we're working on now is actually a 6-month mentoring program. I only work with 20 students at a time because it's important to me that everybody gets the attention that they deserve. This is not you're a number and I'll get back to you in 5 weeks from now when I have time. This is me working personally one-on-one with you to walk you through and teach you every single thing I know about real estate investing. My goal is to make sure that you have properties of your own before you're even done the program. I want to get you started in there. I actually have a student from 2 weeks ago who actually bought their first piece of property 2 weeks in. So it's really important to me that this is like an implementation program. We get you doing the work as you move along, so you're actually investing. It's not take the program for 6 months and then start to work. You're working along with me as we go, and I'm very committed to your success. I will match my time with your effort. So if you're serious and you're working hard, you're going to get my attention, you're going to get my time. I don't mind if I'm in the local area. I'll crawl through attics with you if it means you being successful. But if you're going to call me up with all of the excuses of why you can't do things, then I'm not going to give you the time of day. I want to work with action takers. That's why I don't sell my program. You're never going to see me on stage doing the sales pitch or trying to get people involved, because I've always got a waiting list of people trying to get in. There's only 20 people at a time, and I will only work with people who are serious and want to work. I'm not going to sell somebody something because if you've been sold, that means I have to babysit you, and I already have 2 kids to babysit, and they're driving me crazy, so I don't need any more children around taking away my time and attention when there are serious people out there that really want to learn. Now, people ask me all the time, why is it that you're doing this? I obviously make my money investing in real estate. I don't charge ridiculous amounts for my program like some of them do, and I've run this program for 4.5 years at a 0 profit. The reason why I've done that is because I get paid in other ways, and my commitment to you is to help you become successful, because my hope is that you will then find your passion and purpose, and you'll go out there and make a difference in the lives of other people. That is what's important to me. I want to build an army of philanthropists. I want to go out there and make a positive impact in the world. And so if I help you become a millionaire, then I hope that you will help me go out there and make an impact on the world. And whatever your passion or purpose is, to go out there and make an impact in the lives of other people, whether it be working with seniors or animals or children, or building an orphanage in Africa like we've done. I just want to know that people are going out there making an impact. So the program is a 6-month program. You can find it online at savvyfreedom.com. It is a very strong implementation program, like I said. It has a 100% satisfaction guarantee. If you want to go take a look at it, it's all there available online. If you have any questions about it, you can contact me directly. I'm a real person. I will respond to your emails. My email address is Savannah, just like Savannah, Georgia, savannah@richmom.com, or you can reach me at savannah@savvyfreedom.com, and I will respond to you. If you have any questions whatsoever, you can take this program no matter where you are. It has all been redone. It's been engineered to work with all kinds of different learning styles, and you can take the program no matter where you live in the world. It is mostly all delivered online and through the phone, so it doesn't matter where you are. We can work with you, and our intensives are being delivered at different areas. Some people come to the intensives and some don't. It's just a kind of an added bonus that you get to do at the end of the course if you wanted to participate, but it's definitely not necessary. So no matter where you are, you can take this program. It has been formatted to make sure that it works around your lifestyle. We understand that you have, a spouse and yoga classes and soccer lessons and kids and all kinds of other things to work around, including your job. So we're going to make sure that you can fit all of this in around your current obligations. And my goal is to provide you with a life of ultimate freedom. So I'd like to see you all being retired within the next couple of months so that you can really move forward and focus on building your asset base so that you can go out there and make an impact on your life, the life of your family, the life of your community, and worldwide, just to go make a really big positive impact.
Cool. Yeah, so anybody that's interested in finding out more about it, just go to savvyfreedom.com.
Yeah.
I think one of the biggest things people need to do is to take some action steps. You want to learn how to work with investors, become an investor. You want to, learn how to go, work with any kind of business, you need to get involved in it. And one of the things I really love about this program is that it's somebody that's done it, walked the walk, made the mistakes, lost lots of money in way of investing money into themselves. It's it's so funny, Savannah. I do trainings all the time, and one day I'm at this training, and out in California, and there was this mother and son team. And I started my program out, and as I started the program, I get a little bit of background and everything, sold over 2,500 properties in 25 years and all that. And this guy, as soon as I started talking about some of the parts of my program, he said, well, I don't think that works. And I said, okay, and what makes you an expert that it doesn't work? Have you tried it? He said, well, we tried it a couple of times. It didn't work. We called the FSBOs. They were rude. They were not nice. So it doesn't work. I said, how many houses do you guys sell a year? He says, well, I don't think that's really important. I said, well, I'm just curious because you want everybody to listen to your opinion and you're challenging what I say, so I'd like to know how many houses you guys sold last year. They sold 3. Him and his mother sold 3 properties, but they were smart Alex. They thought they knew everything about everything. So I threw them out of the program, and I don't give them their money back. And they said, well, wait a minute. I thought you said you had a 100% money back guarantee. And I said, I do. You're guaranteed 100%. You're not getting your money back.
Wow.
I mean, people just, they're challenging the information. Hello, I've done it. People sometimes, I'm sure, they challenge your information when you invested in all these properties. You bought at least a couple of hundred properties. How many properties did you buy over the years?
In the first 2 years, I bought 221 properties.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
221 properties. Boy, I would have loved to be your agent back then.
They all want to be. They all want to be my agent, but they don't want to do the work. I'll tell you one last thing. Last year, I was speaking at the property show in Canada. It's the biggest real estate investment show in the country, and we came in as the keynote, and there was a few other speakers there, and the event coordinators had this great idea to put together a panel, which I thought was awesome. They put together this panel, and I am really very, very focused on the end client. So as the keynote speaker, when you come into the show, I'm always the first person that you see when you come through the door, and I am always client focused. So someone will come to me and say, hey, I'm interested in getting involved in real estate investing. I'm thinking about doing flips. And I'll say, you know what, that's great. I think that's awesome. I am not the person to teach you that. What I do is high equity, high cash flow. If you want to learn about doing flips, this is the guy down there that you need to go talk to, and I'll actually bring them down to go talk to the guy that does flips and introduce them and let them have their little conversation and let them do their stuff. And the next person will come in and say, I'm looking at doing, rent to own, so I'll bring them over to the guy that does the rent to own because I'm really about the client, what the client's needs are. So here we are sitting at on stage. They decided to do this big panel. So there's 8 of us up on stage, and of course I'm the only woman, as usual, up on this panel, and there's 7 other men up there who are like real estate gurus, all known across Canada, United States, that we're all up on the panel together. And so the purpose was for the audience to be able to ask questions, and whoever was the expert in that particular area can answer the question. So I sat up there for about 45 minutes listening to these 7 men having like a pitching contest about who's better than who. And they were not focused on what the client wanted. The client would ask a question, and they were all fighting for that client's business and that client's attention, trying to sell them from the stage. And I said nothing. I never answered any of the questions. And finally, there was an all-out war going on, and I finally stood up 45 minutes in, and I said, listen. I said, you guys are acting like a bunch of babies. I said, nobody here is focused on what the client wants. I said, you all have this huge ego attached to what it is that you teach and these programs that you sell. I said, but at the end of the day, you all are fighting about you're better than him, and you're better than him, and you're better than him. But the truth of the matter is, the proof is in the pudding, and if you want to talk about who's the best, I am the #1 real estate investor in Canada. So you want to talk about who's best, let's not have a contest here because you're going to lose. The fact of the matter is, it's not about who has more, it's about who has what the client needs. And if you're focused on the needs of your client, you will be successful working with the client. So many people have stuff to sell, and they just want to sell their stuff. They're not looking to serve their client with what the client's needs are. They're looking to serve themselves with what their sales needs are. And we really need to turn that around and start focusing on what the client needs. Put the client first, and everybody will be happy. There is no point in trying to sell someone who doesn't want what you have to offer. Like I said, I am not going to sell anybody the opportunity to work with me. If you don't want to work with me, then that's fine. You don't have to work with me. Not everybody's going to love me. I get to find anybody who didn't, but whatever. Not everyone's going to want to work with me. But that's okay, because I want to work with people who are driven, determined, who want to have a huge impact. They want to make a massive, massive difference in the world. If you look at my book, The Rich Mom Success Stories, you'll see in there that every single one of those stories has nothing to do with money. Sure, I've got students that have gotten the Ferraris and the mansions, but we don't talk about them in the book. We talk about the people who, couldn't have a baby because they didn't have enough money for in vitro and ended up investing in real estate and ended up having a child and named their child after mine because they were so inspired and so grateful for what I did in their lives. Last October, I had the best gift in the world. I got to actually deliver the child of one of my students. This couple that I had worked with that wanted a child so bad, because of what I've taught them, and they were able to build an empire, they ended up having a child, and they asked me to be in the delivery room with them when that child was born, and I was actually there helping to deliver this child. It was the most miraculous event I'd ever been involved in. And that's what success is really all about. It's about changing people's lives. I remember last week, Alex, when we showed up here, you and I were sitting out in front of the pool looking over the ocean in this paradise, and you said something about the people that couldn't be here. And, we had a brief 2-second moment of feeling sorry for those people that weren't here, that couldn't afford to have a lifestyle like this. And then I instantly turned it around and said, you know what? There's no excuses. There is no reason why anyone can't be here. We live the most amazing, beautiful lives, and I used to feel sorry for people all the time. I used to be the biggest socialist, wanted to save the world, and now it's like, you know what? I don't want to do that anymore. I want to help empower people and lift them up, inspire them to move forward, not do things for them, but inspire them to do things, because there's absolutely no reason why everyone can't be up here right now. There's no reason why they can't all live lifestyle.
It is funny because a lot of times, when I'm on vacation or something and I'm able to go on vacation, because many times I was not able to go on vacation. I grew up very poor and didn't have much, and sometimes I say, I wonder what the poor people are doing. And the truth is that nobody has to be poor. Again, Jim Rohn said this to me many years ago, back in the mid-'70s. He said, being poor is a state of mind. Being broke is a temporary situation. And you can be broke, but you don't have to be poor. It's your mental state that causes you to be poor or to be rich. It's not the money. You can be rich and not have any money. And at first I couldn't understand that. It took me a few years to really get that. And it's an approach, it's a state of mind, it's a way of thinking. Anyways, I think we got like maybe 1 minute, 2 minutes. Anybody has any questions, please type it in for Savannah. Otherwise, you can send her an email at savannah@richmom.com, or you can send me an email, you know, and anything you need to know, Alex Szinegh, coach at AOL.com, or Haley, info at extremeonlineuniversity.com. We'd be more than happy to answer your questions and talk to you. If you want to check out Savannah's stuff, it's on savvyfreedom.com. I want to thank you, Savannah. It's been wonderful. I really appreciate you talking to the audience here. I hope that a lot of people will take your advice and listen really carefully of what you said. And hopefully they're going to start working with investors. They're going to learn how to work with investors and make some more money. Because you said something to me, I think it was yesterday or the day before. You said, you know, who do you want to work with? Do you want to, if you want to sell, and I've been selling 100 homes a year for 25 years, one home at a time. And once in a while I worked with some investors, you know, that bought maybe 5 or 6. I've got a big investor right now that wants to buy millions and millions of dollars worth of real estate. And, you know, I can sell one house at a time. That's 100 houses, 100 clients. So you can work with one client that buys 100 homes, and which is easier. You know, once you learn how to work with them, it's better. So anyways, I want to thank you. I want to thank everybody for being on the line. You guys take care. See you next month on July the 2nd. I have no clue what we're going to talk about, but this has been one of the best webinars we have done. I really thank you, Savannah, for talking to us, and good luck to everybody out there. Call me.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Alex.
You guys all take care.
I really hope that you guys will move forward and stop making excuses of why you can't do stuff, and just go out there and get it done. No more excuses. No more I can't do this, I can't do that. If you want something, go out and get it. Don't let anybody stop you from moving forward. You have everything that you need to be successful, so stop with the excuses and just get to work, guys.
Great. Thanks a lot. Take care, everybody. Bye for now.
The organizer has